Okay, the subject of the shiur is the Omer. What we're going to explain first at the beginning of the shiur is the counting of the Omer rabbinically. It means, is it a decree by the rabbinical today, or is it still from the Torah? I'll bring sources and then we'll move to the main subject. What is Korban Omer? What is the sacrifice that we bring in that Kol Omer? What is it about? So first of all, we know that there is a mahloket between the poskim. That means between the Rishonim. The mahloket is, it says something very interesting in the Torah. The Torah tells us in Sefer Vayikra, chapter 21, verse 15, "Usfartem lachem mimaharat ha-Shabbat miyom aviachem et Omer ha-Tnufa sheva Shabbatot temimot tihiyena." That means, the Torah tells us that after the Shabbat, you should count 7 full weeks. After Shabbat, but not always necessary that Pesach will fall on Shabbat. This year it's happened, nachon? But not every year it's fall on Shabbat. So the Gemara in Masechet Menachot, in page 65, folio 2, the Gemara there, the Chazal explained that our sages learn, mimaharat ha-Shabbat, that means after the first day of Pesach, that's in Eretz Israel, it's already starting Hol HaMoed. In the Eshpra, it's the second day of Pesach, we start counting the Omer. That means mimaharat ha-Shabbat, follow that Shabbos, regarding to what? To Pesach. So from here we see that the Torah tells us specifically that we must count the Omer. Count 49 days. So how can it be mahloket? It's come like this. Because today we don't have Bet HaMikdash. And when a big Bet HaMikdash not exist, we can't count 49 days and bring then the Korban HaOmer. We can count the Omer, but we can't bring a Mincha. So according to the Rambam, the Ravaya, they say no. Until today, the counting of the Omer, it's still from the Torah. That's the Rishonim. Then come most of the poskim. The Raza, that Rabbi Zrahia Levy, the Raza, Haran, Harosh, and they bring in the end of Masechet Menachot, there they bring the Shashbetz, the Rashba, the Rada, Baal HaItur, and Baal HaMaor, and many more that saying that today when we counting the Omer, it's rabbinically. Why? That's that we counting the Omer, it's to tell us the 49 days that we have between Pesach to Shavuot, nachon? That on the 50th days is Shavuot, because we don't count 50 days. And we'll explain, please God, why. So here we're learning that we see from here that today, lehalacha, most of the poskim say that it's a rabbinical. Now, what is the Omer? What is the Korban HaOmer? And that's the main subject of the show. Anyone have any idea what is Korban HaOmer? Why do we bring the Korban HaOmer? You'll see that Korban HaOmer is different to all the other sacrifices. So, Korban HaOmer, it's barley, rabotai. That's what is it? It's a barley. It's not the animal like many people intend to think. It's a barley. During the time of Bet HaMikdash, they used to take a ground next to Yerushalayim, in Yerushalayim, next to Bet HaMikdash. And that ground that they used to take, they used to harvest it, and then they used to make a half of it, they used to plant barley there. A half of the other one used to stay empty. When the barley grown up, while it's still green, Rabotai, remember, while it's still green, they used to harvest the ground. Just remember, again, I repeat for you to understand that they used to plant only a half of that ground. The half they used to leave it empty. And they used to plant barley. When those barley grown up and they're still green, while they're still green, they used to harvest it. They used to take it and they used to put it in a copper pan and they used to roast it. When it's ready, they used to grind it. After they ground the barley, Rabotai, they used to sieve it with 13 sievers. Make sure that it's sieved 13 times. And then they used to lift it up. The question that we have to ask ourselves first, why is a barley? What kind of a korban is it? Why dafka barley? Why not wheat? Do you understand the question, Rabotai? The second question, why 13 times you used to sieve it? And remember the word sieving. That's the second question. Sorry? Oh, you mean why they're not ready? Very good, very good. So that will answer in the end. Why dafka green? You follow what I'm saying? Why does it have to be green? But let's start with the first question that I think that each one of us have to understand. Why dafka barley and not wheat? What does it come to tell us? So the secret lying in what the Torah tells us, Usfartem lachem mimaharat Shabbat, sheva Shabbatot temimot. That means that we have to count 7 full weeks, nachon? 7 full weeks in days is 49, nachon? 7 times 7, 49, if I'm not mistaken, nachon? Hilton, you're the accountant for us today. You're going to give us. We have another accountant in the front of you. You're going to help us. So we have 49 days. Why dafka 49 days? Do we understand why dafka 49 days? Huh? Oh, sorry? So Stephen says simply, on a pshat, there's 49 days between Pesach to Shavuot. But why dafka 49, I'm asking? Why not 39? Why not 20? Why not 100? You know, I'm just drawing numbers. Why dafka 49? So our friend Norman say, yeah, what did you say?
49 levels of tumah.
Oh, 49 level of impurity, nachon, of tumah. What is that talking about? That when Bnei Israel, Rabotai, listen to it carefully, when they was in Egypt, in slavery, and even before they got to slavery, they start to have a problem. They start to mix with the Egyptian. They start adopting the Egyptian habit. They start acting like an Egyptian. And Hazal tell us that during that time that there was in Egypt, they reached 49 level of tumah, of impurity. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu specifically told them, count 49 days. Why 49 days? That each day you're going to uplift yourself from a tumah to a tahara, from impurity to become pure.
Then why does the Torah say Hamishi, 50 days?
Okay, why doesn't it say Hamishi? Why we don't count the 50th day? That's the holy day that we receive the Torah, Shavuot, nachon? Ma'amad Har Sinai. We'll explain. So here we see that Hazal explained something very extraordinary. Shirkoah, today I see that you bombarding. Good, I love it. Keep bombarding. Hazal tell us that there is 50 sha'arim, 50 gates. If Bnei Israel will reach to the 50th level of Tumah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will never be redeemed, the Jewish people, Bnei Israel. But because they reach the 49, HaKadosh Baruch Hu saw another 1 more minute, I leave them in Egypt, they'll reach to the 50th gate. They call it gate, Sha'arim, Sha'arei Tum'ah. If I let them 1 more minute, that's it. And that's what it said, Behipazon, in hurriness. HaKadosh Baruch Hu took us out where? Of Egypt. We say in Haggadah, nachon? Behipazon otziano, HaKadosh Baruch Hu mimitzrayim. It said Behipazon, that means quickly HaKadosh Baruch Hu took us out of Egypt. Why? I didn't forget, it's just that we didn't have time when we go through the Haggadah to give idea. That if they would stay 1 more minute in Egypt, Rabotai, we slave forever. Do you understand that? HaKadosh Baruch Hu saw that we're reaching almost that, took us straight out of Egypt. So we reach only the 49. So we count 49 days, and those 49 days I will explain in the end why Dafka 49s, what is teach us for today. But for us to understand, let's go back to the main question, why barley? Yes, Liron.
I thought we learned also that the plagues took place over 12 months.
Nachon.
So there's not such a rush. Why are we waiting a whole 12 months before we go? If it was such a big rush, surely we would have left sooner.
Okay. Because he wasn't a shi'ur, I'll tell you. Remember the show about the 10 plagues, and we explained. When Bnei Israel was, all the 10 plagues took 12 months. Nachon? A full year. We explained that each plague was, number one, midah keneged midah, measure for measure. Number two, to make sure that the entire world and Bnei Israel that was slave, to build the emunah on it. That's why it's called Hag HaEmunah, Pesach. Remember, we brought all different names. To teach us there that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to teach Bnei Israel, number one, the emunah on it. Number two, to make sure that there is no other God. Because when HaKadosh Baruch Hu dam, makat bechorot, all the different makot, what was the idea behind it? To show them that he's in control. Not only about the liquid, about human being, about everything. He wanted to show them that he's in charge. There is no other God. That was the stage to bring them. But now that you're ready to be redeemed, I have to take you out. Because if I leave you one more minute there, you might, like we explained in Makat Bechorot, was 80%, you remember, that didn't want to be redeemed. 80% of Bnei Israel died in Makat Bechorot. That means, how many percent have been redeemed? 20%.
I thought they died in Makat Choshech.
Makat Choshech, sorry. I said Makat Bechorot.
Yeah.
Sorry. In Makat Choshech we say, why it was 6 days? Because the Makkah was, I repeat, sorry, I'm going back. In Makat Choshech, HaKadosh Baruch Hu killed 80% of Bnei Israel that didn't want to leave. You're right. Yishar Koach, Philip. Thank you for correcting me. That means that HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't want to embarrass the Bnei Israel. That they'll say, here you see, also Jews dying. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu give them a period to prepare them, to build the emunah on them, to show them midah keneged midah, to make them strong, to make them rich, to build the faith that they have to understand that there is only one God, there is no other avodah zarah, and now it's the time to go. Behipazon. What it means behipazon? Don't stay anymore. I've given you the emunah, I've given you the tools, now you must leave. You understand what I'm saying? ויהי בחצי הלילה והשם היכה כל בכור בארץ מצרים, מבכור אדם עד בכור בהמה. You remember? That's it. No time to waste.
So when they deteriorated to the various levels of tumor, did they continue to deteriorate during the time of the plagues?
During the plagues, there is certain people, yes. Why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu then killed 80% Makat Choshech? You ask yourself.
Yeah.
From here you learn that you see that they didn't want to be redeemed. That means that they still believed in Avodah Zarah. Nachon? Another question. Okay.
I have one, but I'll ask it after.
Okay, let's just finish why barley, then I'll give time. Okay. So we ask why dafka barley and not wheat? Nachon? That's the question. So we say that there is 49 days that they have to pure themselves. And Hazal explained like this. Listen to it carefully to understand. Hazal said that for the first 49 days, between Pesach and Shavuot, Bnei Israel was like an animal. Why like an animal? Because what the food that usually they feed the animal? Barley, not wheat. Wheat they keep for the human being. Nachon? You agree with me all? Baruch Hashem. So it's come to tell you that Bnei Israel, us, we was like animal until we received the Torah. Once that you receive the Torah, on the 50th days, you hear me, Mr. Yosef Yona, what did they brought? And that I will get to it in the end of the shiur. Shti alechem. Shti alechem was made from, on the 50th days, from wheat. that's come to tell us, you know why barley you bringing as Korban Omer, as a sacrifice of the Omer? Because until you received the Torah, you was like an animal. To teach us that until we received the Torah on Mount Sinai, on Shavuot, we was exactly like an animal. What's the difference between us and the animal? Once that we receive the Torah, we become different. I'll get to it. You follow? Why Dafka 49? Why Dafka barley? Now you ask why green. Who asked why green? David. And why do we have to roast them? So roast them, we understand that we have to roast to make it ready, nachon, for the korban. But why Dafka green? To tell us something very important. To take that minha and to tell you that HaKadosh Baruch Hu took us behipazon, number one. Number two, to teach us not to waste time. You follow? When it's come to mitzvot. Any other question? Now it's time for question. Before we move to the next subject.
Why the 13 sibs? Why the 13 sibs?
Oh, that's the question that we say. Now we're going to get to the 13. Why dafka 13 sib?
And why half a field?
Why a half a field? A half a field you leave empty, and a half that you make specially for what? For the korban. That field that you plow, you prepare it, you plant, the half you don't let touch. To show you that that's specially for that korban. For what? For korban Omer, the sacrifice of the Omer. So you ask why Dafka next to Yerushalayim? Because in Yerushalayim was Bet HaMikdash. You understand what I'm saying? So they can bring. And we'll see that what it means, the Minha Hadasha, we'll speak about it. But now we're going to go to the second question that we ask. Why Dafka 13? Hazal explained to us why Dafka 13. 13 symbol Yetzer Hara. That means the evil inclination. And Hazal tell us, a person, until he reached the age of Bar Mitzvah, he have the evil inclination on him, the Yetzer Hara. We all men here, we all know that from the age of 13, we'll see that the Yetzer Hara become much weaker. Why? Why? Because there is not so much dafka. You remember, until the age of 13, it's mine. I'm not going to share with anyone. It's mine, I don't want to share. Remember how the kids say? That's the Yetzer Hara. So Hazal come and tell us, what is all the idea of Korban Omer? To conquer the Yetzer Hara that we have on us. How do you do that? By taking him, roasting him, and lift him up. To remind us that we have to conquer the Yetzer Hara, dafka when? During those time that between Pesach and Shavuot. You follow what I'm saying? Now let's understand one very important thing. That Be'ezrat Hashem I'm going to explain why is it so important to count the Omer. But please God, I'll do maybe please God next week because we're not having enough time. I see that we're running away from time. We have to understand what is those 49. Okay, that was the time of Bet. You know what? Let's spend a bit of time on it. In time of the Bet HaMikdash, like Norman say, in the time of the redemption, there was reached to the 49 level of Tuma. Nachon? Every day was to uplift it. But today that we received the Torah, why do I need it again? Hazal tell us that every day during the Sfirat HaOmer, when a person counts the Omer, he's obligated every day to uplift himself. Every day that he changed small thing, small deeds. If he used to read the Parsha, just read the Parsha. Read one pasuk and try to understand it. You read Tehillim, try to read the verse of the Tehillim with a commentary. Do you understand what I'm saying? That means take on you something small during those 49 days, that when you reach to the peak, that Shavuot, Had Matan Torah, that we receive the Torah, you achieve something. You change to better person. You become a better human being. Even one Mishnah that you used to read it with a commentary. Take on yourself small mitzvah extra during those 49. And that will help you to get pure to when you come to Shavuot. That's the Chokhmah of the 49. That every day work on yourself a little bit. Study a bit Torah. Now, I don't know how many of you know there is a minhag in Eretz Israel to study Masechet Avot. You know that? Why dafka Masechet Avot in that period? So on Pshat, Hazal said, Bishum shema'arichim, mishum she'alelot, the night become longer. That means שהלילot נהיים ארוכים. Because the night become much longer and we have more time to study, then you study Masechet Avot. But why dafka Masechet Avot? Why dafka Mishnah Masechet Avot and not the only other Mishnah? Did you ask yourself? Did you know about this minhag, by the way? Did you know this custom? In Eretz Israel, now they're studying Masechet Avot to study. Nachon? Stephen, you agree with me? Why Stephen? Shlomo. But why dafka Masechet Avot? What is the idea of Masechet Avot, Rabotai? Derech Eretz. What's happened between now to Lamed Gimel Ba'omer? The student of Rabbi Akiva. You understand? To work on Derech Eretz. To have Derech Eretz. So during those 49 days, now it's time to work on your Derech Eretz. That means to work on your midot, each one on its personal character trait. That's the Chokhmah. Those the secret behind that 49 days. That's why they start the minhag now in Eretz Israel to start Masechet Avot.
The Shabbos was being.
Sorry?
The Shabbat was being the
Shabbat?
When did they start?
They start exactly from Pesach, the Shabbat of Pesach. Okay, when they start the counting of the Omer, there is some congregates say between Mincha and Mariv they start. Some people say no, after Mariv they start one Mishnah. You know, there is certain people that finish the Perek, so they spend more time. But most of it to finish a Mishnah with explanation. Okay? Now we understand why 13. So now we say that until now we explained the barley. Then we explain the 13. We explain the mahloket. What's left now to understand? Why dafka on Shavuot we bring shti alechem? Nachon? Why dafka on Shavuot we have to bring shti alechem? So first of all, where is the source for it? We have to understand where is the source. So the source to it comes from the Torah in Sefer Bamidbar, in Parashat Pinchas, chapter 28, verse 26, and it says like this: ביום הביקורים, ביום הקריבכם, מנחה חדשה. A new sacrifice. What is the new sacrifice? Hazal said that's shti alechem. What do you make it from? Like Philip explained, from wheat. Why dafka from wheat? To tell us now that you receive the Torah, you become a human being. You're not an animal anymore. Therefore, what you should bring? A mincha. What is a mincha? It's a korban. Korban is a sacrifice. Bring a korban of what? Wheat. Why? Because you received the Torah. Now that you become a human being and you received your Torah, you can bring a korban, a proper korban, that's called mincha hadasha, that made from flour, that wheat, and you can make the shti alechem. Any questions so far about that? No.
Why is the green barley? Why was it necessary for bechipazon? Because bechipazon we already remember from the matzah.
נכון. From the matzah, שלא הספיק בצקם של ישראל להחמיץ. But here is a korban to show you the same like you took it when it was raw. How did HaKadosh Baruch Hu redeem us? It was like an animal, raw. Nothing. And then he brought us to what? To a stage that we all ready to receive the Torah. So that's assembling one of each other. The hipazon, the readiness and the unreadiness. How did HaKadosh Baruch Hu? You follow? You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Any other question? David, you wanted to ask. What did you want to ask?
Why no animals sacrifices?
Sorry? I lost you. Why?
No animal.
No animals. Why does it have to be barley and
Why does it have to be barley? That's what you're asking.
No, why not an animal?
Why not an animal? Okay. That's what I explained at the beginning of the show. Because here to remind us that we exactly like animals because we didn't receive the Torah. What's the difference? You know what? Let me give you an analogy and you'll understand. If you take ISIS today, did you see what ISIS do? How they treat their prisoners? You didn't read about it. They just chop heads. The latest thing that they put 6 young guys in freezing water. They let them to freeze to death. Which Bible say that? I don't know which. Do you understand? So the Torah come and tell us what defines the Jewish person from another person. To teach us something very important. That the Torah that we got, the 613 mitzvot, uplift us from down to up. To learn to control yourself. And that's what is it all about. An animal, did you see an animal get married? Did you see a rabbi coming and marry them and they have a kiddushim? You understand what I'm saying? Where do you find it? Only with human beings. Nahon, David?
Yeah, but the animal sacrifices was a lot of those were thank you.
Nahon. But here, it's specifically to tell you, until you received the Torah, you was not different from the animal. Because the Jewish people, when they was in Eretz Mitzrayim, what they was? Idol worshippers. You remember we spoke about it. Ma ele of the avodah zarah, af ele of the avodah zarah, on the 7th day of Pesach. That with the splitting of the sea didn't want to split. When Moshe commanded the sea to split, they didn't want it. So the angel of the sea said to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you wanted around the Egyptian. What's the difference between the Egyptian and the Bnei Israel? What's the difference? Those idol worshippers, the Egyptian, the idols, what is the Bnei Israel done? Also idol worshippers. You understand what I'm saying? So there is no difference. But at the moment that you receive the Torah, you become a different human being. So you were Bnei Israel when there was in Egypt. There was like an animal. There's no difference. You'll excuse my language, but that's the truth. What defined them different from any other nation? What defined them different from animal? What? You wake up in the morning to eat, to drink, to go to work? Is that what we come for this world? A person born to wake up in the morning, wash himself, get ready to go to work, come back, to eat, to drink, to go to sleep. What are we, animals? That's what we receive the Torah, Rabotai. The difference between us, that we wake up in the morning, we say Modeh, you come to shul, you daven, you go to work because you have to make a living. You come to daven mincha, mariv, you study a bit. That's what defined us from the animal. Animal doesn't have to get married.
So maybe,
That's a difference.
Maybe the answer is that we weren't worthy to have an animal sacrifice. The animal sacrifice is what you're basically transferring our bed into the animal.
But if you say that, so what is Korban Pesach? Why did he brought Korban Pesach?
Before, it's true.
Before, נכון? Korban Omer came much later, much later, נכון? But the Korban Pesach come to build the emunah on us. Why? ולא תישבר בו עצם, that means you're not allowed to break the bones, נכון? Why not to break the bones? Because they say that who break the bones and eat the bones? Poor person, love to eat the bones. Now you become kings now, you're not going to break the bones, you're going to eat it. And when you're going to eat it? When your tummy is full. That's when we're eating the afikoman. Ala sova. Why dafka ala sova? You're free men, like kings. You don't need to worry about food. To teach us different mentality. Did you see when you see a poor person, how did he take something from you? Nachon? He bowed down and like this. Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted to take that out of us. When you eat your korban, eat it full. Eat it with your own members. Don't break a bone on it. You understand? That's to build the emunah on us. That was the Korban Pesach. Number 2, to show that you say that the goat is your God, the Egyptian. Nachon, that's what they say. HaKadosh Baruch Hu say, you say your God. No problem. Time to your bed. Not only that, let's see if he's so strong, he can run away. He's God, no? Lehavdil haz v'shalom. Gurnish mit gurnish. Not only that, you're going to shecht it. Why dafka you? Because you believe in it. To take that Yetzer Hara and the emunah in that goat, on that sheep, and shecht it. To believe that there is no more Buba Mises.
What was the significance of the goats in Egypt?
Akon here, akon here.
What was the significance of the goats in terms of the idol worship? What was it?
They believe that that's their God. Simple. They believe that that was their God. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, no problem. Take it. Let's see if they can do something. And that's what you celebrate. Part of the idea of Shabbat HaGadol. What was the Shabbat HaGadol? The big miracle that Bnei Israel took the God of the Egyptian, tied them to their bed, and when they tied them to their bed, they asked him, what are you going to do? We're going to shecht it. What? You're going to shecht it? Yes, we're going to shecht your God. And they couldn't say nothing. To build the emunah in Am Yisrael. You understand? So it was a korban before that was an animal. But here, dafka the korban of the barleys, to teach us that we act like animals when we was in Egypt. That Bnei Israel was not ready to receive the Torah until they cleaned themselves for 49 level of Tumah. Nachon? And if a person doesn't study Torah to teach us, he's like an animal. How is he going to know how to react? How to act one with each other? So what is the first mitzvah that we have in the Torah? Sorry, not the first mitzvah. The first mitzvah in Aseret HaDibrot. Anochi Hashem Elokecha. נכון? שאשר הוצאתיך מארץ מצרים. Why דווקא ארץ מצרים? To tell us something interesting. That if I would not redeem you, you will be still today a slave.
Not real slave, not slaves.
Proper, real slave. And we brought the midrash that you missed last week. I don't know, you was last week in the show. What did we say in the show? We brought the midrash that said that no one ever left Egypt except the Jewish people. Whoever was a slave, all of his life stayed slave. Him, his kids, his grandchildren, grandchildren, everyone stays slave. Avadim mamash, proper slave. You follow? Any question?
The slavery no longer exists today. I mean,
Today we don't have slavery? You think so? Did you been in Africa?
No, the world's full of slaves.
Huh?
I'm saying, but the idea is repugnant to that.
You know, we don't understand what it means to be a slave. You know, but there's many countries that there is still slave. North Africa, when you go, you know how many poor countries. You know how they trade on human being there. I'll tell you a story, not about Africa. Listen to me carefully. My father in the neighborhood where I grown up, I don't want to mention name because it's going to go on the internet. One of the people couldn't have children. They gone and they bought children. You know where? From the Ukraine. She knew that she couldn't have children. Both of them. The husband and the wife. They needed kids. They wanted to adopt kids. So they give it a name, adopting. But this adopting comes with guilt. That's not a slavery? What would you call that? You're buying what? Human. Nachon that it's not, they don't treat it as bad. They actually treat them very well. I saw those kids, and Bli Ayin Hara, Baruch Hashem, they're beautiful kids. They're all going to Jewish day school, Shomrei Shabbat, Baruch Hashem. But you understand what I'm saying? So you want to tell me in Northern Africa, where all the poorness that's happening on East Africa, East, I'm especially say East, close to Yemen, close to all of that, Djibouti and all of that.
Yeah, as well in South Africa, there's slave labor. The Chinese have got them locked in garages doing labor.
You think India any better, or China? China, you can't go to the toilet because as soon that you leave your chair from your bench work, someone else will fill it up. What do you call it?
Slave labor.
Because you know, if you're not going to sit and work, someone else will take his food. Do you understand the difference? Any question? Imagine to be a nation like this, Haz v'shalom. Haz v'shalom.